So before I start, if you think that this is going to be a very technical talk about algorithms and machine learning and things like that, you are on the wrong talk. This is going to be about, social media, their consequences. I'm just going to give you a little bit food for thoughts for food for thoughts. I just want you to think a little bit about it because we are so into our day-to-days. We are using our social medias. We are in Instagram. We are in TikTok. And we actually don't understand how much this affects our day-to-days and how the world is evolving. So before that, I just want to say that about artificial intelligence, we think that is a thing from the last couple of years. We already know, Graham said it in the last talk, this has been going on for like more than 20 years. But it kind of like had the feeling that it's a thing for like a couple of years. But actually social media, we have seen the algorithm going for a really long time. So it's already shaping our lives and we don't even know about it. So I'm going to start, but let me introduce myself first. So my name is Azara Corrales, and I am media manager at Rocket Mill. So Rocket Mill is a Brighton agency, born and bred here. And I'm also Digital Woman to Watch 2023, apparently. So I hope that means something. And just in case that you are wondering, that is the best football team in the world, Rayo Vallecano. So I'm going to start giving you a little bit of history about social media. This is my first ever post on Facebook in 2009. Apparently I say this week is crappy because I have an exam on Saturday, and besides I don't have any money, so online life, which I think is a little bit lame. But I'm joking. I'm not going to talk about social media history, starting like talking about my post. I'm actually going to talk about the history of social media. So as you can see here, the first social media was 6 Degrees in 1997. I don't know you, but I had never heard about them before. But what I want you to show you with this, so we have Facebook in 2004, but I think what is quite important here is the fact that, for example, we have Friendster and MySpace, which still exists, but no one uses it anymore. Is the fact that, it's like with every single disruptive new technology that we had before, if the company is not able to adapt, they disappear. So that happens with Friendster and that happened with MySpace. But there is a company that actually has been doing things quite well, and I can explain and I can talk about artificial intelligence and social media without talking about them, which is Meta, or Facebook, how it was known before. So Facebook was born in 2004, but in 2006, they added the news feed. So what we can see now in Oral's Facebook, where everybody shared their post and we can see the timeline and everything. But only 1 year later, they already inserted an algorithm within their social platform. This algorithm was called EdgeRank. This algorithm, it was quite basic. It was the first one ever. And it had three things to take into consideration. The first one was the interactions. The second one was the type of content that you like. And the third one was the decay rate. So how quickly people were losing interest on something. These three things have something in common, that it was relevancy. So instead of looking at what your friends and family were sharing in a chronological order, you were actually seeing all that people were sharing based on how in your interest, how much you liked it. And just out of curiosity, if you're interested and you don't want to see the things based on the algorithm, but you actually want to come back to the old times when it was chronological order, you can still do it. You just need to go to the menu of your Facebook, choose Fits, and you can actually change it. So if you ever get sick and tired of the algorithm showing you content, you can actually do it in like the old times. So at this point, I'm sure that I'm talking about algorithm, and maybe some of you are thinking, yeah, but what is an algorithm, right? But instead of explaining it, because I'm sure that you all know, I'm just going to let the Simpsons tell you. I'll come back. There you go.
Recess is over. Now, this school is so advanced that every aspect of it is run by an algorithm. an example of an algorithm.
Oh, like when you buy a new garbage can online and the rest of your life you see ads for garbage cans. Or like when you watch a bunch of close-up magic videos on YouTube and get ads for a suicide hotline.
Exactly. And because you like this lesson, the algorithm thinks you might also enjoy.
So yeah, that's a really simple way to understand how the algorithm works. So we have seen that before we have the post order in chronological order. Then we move to a very basic algorithm that have just 3 things into consideration. So how it is nowadays. So now this is what actually the algorithm is taking into consideration to decide what type of content is showing you. So as you can see, we went from 3 to 10 things, but all of them are still based in your interest. So now they look at how many times do you click in the profile of the author, or how many times do you reshare the post, or if you ever comment, etc., etc., etc. So as you can see, the algorithm is becoming better and better and better with time, and they are giving it more information, so you make sure that it shows you the right content at all times. So now we are going to have a little game. So in 2020, the University of Princeton did a study together with Facebook to see how if the algorithm or having your feed as a chronological order, it actually have any effects in your decision to vote during the elections of 2020 in America. But before I go to the results of that study, I want to ask you to see what you think it was. So the first question is, which one, so between the chronological order feed and your algorithm, which one decreased the time spent on social media? So whoever thinks that is the algorithm, please put your hands up. And whoever thinks is chronological order, please put your hands up. Come on, people, participate. All right, cool. Yes, you are right. So it's chronological order. The next question is, which one decreased the amount of political and untrustworthy content as users sees? Is the algorithm or is the chronological order? So algorithm, please, put your hands up. Okay. And chronological order? Okay. So the people that choose the algorithm are right. And the next question and last one is, which one increased the content from moderate friends and ideologically mixed audiences? Is it the algorithm or is it the chronological order? Cool. So it's chronological order again. So, here we can actually see the results of the study. So this study, they show the chronological order feed to 20,000 people on Facebook and 21,000 people on Instagram, and this was the results. What I think is more interesting is, first, the fact that it decreased the time people spend in social media when they see it in chronological order. Second is that the algorithm actually helps to see political and trustworthy content. And the most interesting part is what we can see in there. That is the fact that any of this, it didn't matter if you saw it in chronological order or you saw it through the algorithm, it didn't affect how they vote. Okay, so that's very interesting. But for me, what it was even more interested is this thing, the political and trustworthy content with algorithm. Is it true, though, that we see less political and untrustworthy content? I bring you another example, Brexit. So I'm sure that many of you already know about this. If you don't, I recommend 100% to watch the film Brexit. I think from a marketing perspective and the use of data is super interesting. But what happened here, it was just basically they were showing this ad on the left-hand side, which it has nothing to do with Brexit, referendum, leave UK, whatever it is, leave the European Union, just to people, just to gather data, first-party data. They were getting the emails from people. Once that they have this data, which is what it feeds the algorithm, then they were able to show the ads on the left-hand side. And depending on how they react to the ads, then people were going to different pools of data. We all know how this affected the results of the referendum. We don't know if it actually will have changed anything if this never happened, but we know that it has some implications, the fact that people were seeing that type of ads. Funny enough, Facebook was fined $500,000 because of this, but the reason why is not because they were seeing untrustworthy content. The reason why they were fined is because they weren't able to protect the privacy of users, because the reason why is when people were clicking to this ad and giving their first-party data, they didn't know that that first-party data was used for that. So since then, legislation changed, and now, for example, if me as a marketeer, want to collect data from people, I actually need to tell them why am I collecting that data and what is going to be used for. So I think this is a great example of how things happen and just legislation and things come after the problem has been raised. So it's been a while since 2016, but we're still finding that the algorithm and machine learning can have some issues. So in this case, it's an investigation that The Guardian did about how the algorithm behaves in terms of content. For example, when they see a naked torso of a man compared with, for example, a woman wearing underwear. It's very interesting. So basically, Instagram are all these social media, because this example on the left is a Microsoft algorithm. They were trained to make sure that they censor any images that, for example, were showing a woman wearing underwear. In this case, this example on the left-hand side is this man that actually created some sort of like application for the Microsoft algorithm, and it tells how likely it is to that image to be censored depending on what he's wearing. So as you can see, it's 99% when he's wearing a bra. So this is the kind of examples of how the algorithm also can get it wrong, and it can censor images that they shouldn't be censored. And the next example is how actually we can do it right. So if we give the right information and the right data to our machine learning and to algorithm, we can actually do something good. So Pinterest was feeding 5 billion images to their algorithm to make sure that, let me play that so you can see it, to make sure that they were portraying different types of bodies and different types of color skin. So, you know, this is very important that we are aware that depending on the information and the data that we feed to our algorithm, it will behave in one way or another. So that's for algorithm. I'm still going to talk a little bit about machine learning, and I'm just going to do sort of like a special mention to what is happening right now, and that is video content and machine learning. As we know, algorithms are very powerful, but together with video content, we can see what happens. So TikTok is here. So it's not Meta anymore. It's not Facebook and likes. It's not Instagram. It's TikTok. In this case, we can see that TikTok has increased 17% in users year on year. Reels consumption has increased 20% year on year. And the average time spent in TikTok is up 7.3%. The reason why this is happening is because we are combining the algorithm that actually knows what you like and what you're interested in, together with the fact that video content is immersive. When you are watching a video, you're not doing anything else. You are completely focused in watching that video. And it's also mobile, so you can do it anywhere, which is very scary if you actually think about it. So what happens when video content and an algorithm comes together? Don't worry, The Simpsons has the answer.
Friend, awaiting reply. Friend, Sherry, Terry, hopscotch, double dutch, ringalilio, anyone? Oh, I have 1,000 friends and I feel more alone than ever. Whee! I am trying to set a mood here. Whee!
if I ever have a doubt in life, I always come back to The Simpsons, though. So this is a couple of references that I think are very interesting if you want to know more about the topic. The first one is an article by Adam Alter. He actually have a book that tells you, you know, the insights about how technology gets you hooked. But some of the things that he mentioned in this article and that I think that are very interesting is the fact that in the moment that Facebook came to life and they added the like button, we just have become junkies of looking for that like, for that social reassuring. We just need to be social approved. So everything that we do is to create content because we want to be approved in society. And the other thing that he mentioned that I think is very good is that he compares social media with a slot machine. The reason why he does this, and he gives the example of a kid going into an elevator and touching all the buttons because they have colors and they have lights and sounds. This is exactly the same. Video content, it gives you that. It gives you the sound, it gives you the images, so you just want to keep going. The second example is if you speak Spanish, anyone in the room, 100% recommend the podcast of this lady. But she has one episode that she talks about. She's a Spanish psychologist, and she talks about the effect of TikTok in your brain. And basically, every time that you watch TikTok, you get an increase in dopamine, so the happy hormone. And because it's so easy to get that like happiness, you just want to keep going and going and going, and the more you have, the more you want. And what is the effect? Well, I'm sure that all of you have seen this at the news lately. 41 states sue Meta, claiming Instagram, Facebook are addictive, harm kids. So what I'm trying to show you here, especially with what we are doing here, Brighton groups, trying to create some sort of like perhaps legislation or awareness in schools, or even not kids, like ourselves. I don't think that we realize how harmful social media can be. It is a really good starting point to make people self-aware that this can happen. If you want to choose and keep going with your social media, go for it. But you know, it has consequences. So, in a more positive and nice note, we are going to look that the algorithm and machine learning is actually now the only form of AI within social media. And we are going to start with the type of content that we are seeing lately shared on social media. Yeah? Okay. The first one is image content. Don't worry, I will say horrible things in a minute, but for now, let's be positive and let's look at the latest trend, which I'm sure that you are very tired about it because I'm very tired about it, of sharing photos pretending that is your high school prom or whatever. I'm sure everybody has seen this in their feeds, in TikTok, Instagram, absolutely everywhere, because everyone was doing it. This is very cool, and it can be very cute and very fun, but it also has their downsides. I promise you they will have downsides. These are the downsides. So lately, for example, we have seen things in the news. For some reason, Spain is leading on this. But a few weeks ago, a few kids, teenagers in Spain, they were modifying photos of their friends to pretend to make them look like they were naked. And they were distributing these images within social media. The second one that I bring you, also in Spain, is that the police arrested a minor that it was also using artificial intelligence to modify photos of kids to then sell them. So these are really extreme examples, but what I wanted to tell you with this is the fact that, especially the first example, that happened in a really small village in Spain. If that is happening there, probably is happening in many places. We're just not aware that the images has been distributed, had been changed, etc. So again, it's our opportunity, because these things are rising right now. This is our opportunity to put legislation to make sure that these things doesn't happen. And if they do, at least, you know, people pay for it. The second example of artificial intelligent content that has been distributed through social media is voice. So I'm sure that all of you have heard the Eminem boys' songs that they've been also shared on social media. But again, I bring you a really extreme example for you to see how, one, the algorithm, and two, the artificial intelligence is actually shaping our society and what is happening right now. So this example is a voice cloning of Omar al-Bashir during the Sudan civil war. In this case, so Omar al-Bashir hasn't been publicly seen in more than a year, and the rumors has it that he's ill. So when this voice cloning came out, people didn't know really if it was real, what was happening. So it's been a big controversy, and it can have a huge effect in politics and different countries. So yeah, that's it. And then the next example is within the platforms. So how actually the channels, social media, is adapting, including artificial intelligence, to to help you out. In this case is LinkedIn. I'm sure that you probably have seen this. It was really difficult for me to find a screenshot because this was in my feed for a really long time, and then when I came back to my LinkedIn, it was gone. But it's basically a tool that LinkedIn is trial, where it basically AI help you to create a post. So you can write, it's very similar to ChatGPT, so whatever you write, it just made it better, or it can adapt it, or it can do whatever it wants from you. And then there is other useful tools, like for example, Tinder is testing an AI tool to help users select best looking photos, because as we all know, what is important is in the inside. Okay, and now that takes me to Meta. So as I said before, I can't explain social media and the algorithm and artificial intelligence without talking about Meta. They were the first ones that adapted, that they created the first algorithm to use within social media, and now they are the ones that are bringing like quite revolutionary tools within the platforms. But to tell you about the new tools that they have presented, I need to give you a little bit about the context about Meta. So I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, Apple launched iOS 14. This was quite of like revolutionary because it was the first time in history that they gave the option to users to decide if they wanted to be tracked, if their data, they wanted to be tracked. The problem with this is like Facebook was really affected by it because a lot of people were saying like, yeah, I don't want you to track my data anymore. So that means for Facebook, they couldn't show you ads anymore. And they have lost quite a lot of money because of it. But what they did is just as soon they saw that Apple was launching this, they increased their investment in artificial intelligence to make sure that the algorithm was getting better and better. Why is this? Because they can't track data anymore. So what I'm going to do is just to put more money in my algorithm to make sure that it can understand what is your interest and what is liking. So I don't need your data anymore. The reason
Check.
Where I was, iOS 14. Oh, so all this investment that they did in artificial intelligence, now they are seeing the results. The reason why the views of Reels have increased 20% year on year is because the algorithm is getting better. And I'm sure that you have seen maybe when you are in your Instagram feeds or in your Facebook feeds, you have seen some of these options. The one on the left-hand side, it says suggested post. So that's just the algorithm and machine learning showing you some suggested posts to see if you are interested or not. And the second one is within your Reels, it actually directly is asking you if you are interested or not interested. So that's their way to know, is this the content for you? And that takes me to the new tools that they have presented in the last few days, which I think is very exciting, and I think they are actually shaping social media for the future, utilizing artificial intelligence. The first one is voice assistant. I'm sure that you're probably thinking, yeah, that's not new. You know, we have seen Siri, we have seen Alexa, so there's nothing new about it. The difference is this is going to be integrated with all the companies that Meta owns. So you're going to be able to access Meta AI through your WhatsApp, your Messenger, your Instagram, and your Facebook. And what is even more interesting is the fact that they are training it with Facebook and Instagram posts. So everything that you put online that is not private, if you have a private account, maybe they won't be using that. But anything public is going to be used to feed this algorithm. For you to have an idea, 95 million photos and videos are shared on Instagram per day. So that's a lot of data that they are giving to this algorithm. So it's going to get very good. The second one is stickers. So again, generative AI, this is just to create images, but in this case will be stickers that again, you will be able to use them in your Messenger and your WhatsApp. This is actually quite funny because it went a little bit wrong as soon they launched it. So this is quite, you know, average, cool, Van Gogh, the Starry Night Fighter jets, but then very Halloween, Zombie Mona Lisa, which is still, you know, funny, all right. Then they did Luigi Riffle, so, you know, it got a little bit out of hand, and then it just got worse with Karl Marx large breasts. So as you can see, obviously they needed to like take it back and get it better. So right now, this is not happening for now. I think they're still working on it to make sure that it will be all right in the future. And here is where we get into like the interesting bits of what is coming. So chatbots. You probably have seen the sample on the left-hand side. In this case, is British Airways. You can contact them through Messenger and just text in. Very useful for companies. That way they don't need to pay that much in people in customer service. And very useful to help you with like very basic questions. But Meta is taking that to another level. And they actually have created different chatbots using famous people. I'm sure that you can recognize some of the faces on the left-hand side. And they are specific to certain topics. But instead of explaining it to you, I'm just going to play you the video so you know.
We built some AIs you can interact with, and then partnered with awesome people to play some of them to make them even more fun. Introducing Meta's AIs, with Tom Brady as Brew, ready to throw you his deep sports.
Seriously? How could you not know that?
Naomi Osaka as Tamika, proving it's cool to geek out.
Time for a selfie.
Chris Paul as Perry. He's preaching the gospel of golf.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
Paris Hilton is Amber. She's taking a stylish bite out of crime.
Not to brag, but I am a forensic expert.
Mr. Beast is Zach. This dude's funny. Like, funny.
I'm not saying I know everything.
Israel Adesanya as Louise. He'll make sure you never tap out.
The more you know, the better you can move on the map.
Kendall Jenner as Billy. She'll always have your back.
I'll keep it real, but above all, I'll keep it on the DL.
Roy Choi as Max. Nix that delivery order. You're cooking in tonight.
Chef, what's on the menu today?
Charlie D'Amelio as Coco. Making sure you and your moves aren't sus.
Hey y'all, you ready to dance?
Snoop Dogg as Dungeon Master. Slay the games you love.
Your quest begins now, player.
So, if you're looking to explore your interests, learn a new skill, settle a debate, or just have fun, start using Meta's AIs.
I know what you're thinking. This is, hello? Yeah. This is never going to happen. No one is going to actually talk to them. Are you sure? I have been reading about it, and people actually been trying it. And once that you start talking to them, for example, with Tom Brady, you can have a conversation about football, and it actually looks like you are talking to a friend about football. It's not only give you the data saying this many people, like how many goals you can see, but actually have a conversation in terms of like, I think this team may win the league this year because of this, this, and this. So in a society and in a world where we're just more lonely and lonely every time, and after COVID, it's just becoming harder to like interact with other humans, I can actually see this happening. What is also very interesting about this is that all these chatbots are going to have their own Instagram profiles, and they're also going to have a 3D version of them. So for when the metaverse is here, you can interact with them in the metaverse, which it takes me to the next point. Oh, no, before this. So this is the risk. So you can see, I'm sure that you have heard about this as well, but man encouraged by a chatbot girlfriend to kill Queen Elizabeth II. And it sounds funny, but he was actually, like, he actually wanted to kill her. And apparently the chatbot said to him, that's very wise. So there is some implications and there is some risk about this type of technology. So it's, you know, make sure that we know about this now, because as I say before, legislation always comes after the problem has arisen. And this is my next point. I am an advocate for the metaverse. I think it's going to happen. I know that many people don't think that. But something that I thought that it will maybe happen in the next 20 years is, I think there is going to be a reality much more sooner, thanks to the help of artificial intelligence. And the example is the avatars. So this is on something that Zuckerberg also announced it. And as you can see here, so the last one on the left-hand side, my left-hand side, is an avatar which has been produced with the use of artificial intelligence, and this is how it used to be before. So it's just getting better, better, and better. It's actually looking like him, isn't it? And that's their purpose, like that's what they want. I can imagine social media moving from your phone, because what we talked about before is immersive and is mobile. And at some point, we will move from using it on our phones to go to the metaverse. And then just to end, this is an article from John Brandon, also very interesting. I recommend it for you to read it, where he's talking about all these tools. So for example, LinkedIn helping you to create content, chatbots that you are talking with, and that then maybe you will be talking with on the metaverse, avatars. What is real? It's going to be a point on social media that is going to be very difficult to distinguish if the content that you are reading, for example, has been created by a machine or has been created by a human. Or if you are actually talking through a chat box, for example, if you are talking with a person or you are talking with a machine. Is this the end? Well, we don't know, but I'm sure that The Simpsons, you know, they all get it right. So I wouldn't be surprised if it looks like this.
Hands off, hands off. Ah, screw it. Sometimes a mother's job is to butt in. Lisa? Butt out. This is it. I'm going into the Ultranet to save my daughter.
Lisa Simpson, the following people want to friend you.
Ignore, ignore, ignore. Ooh, Martin Prince is now Marcia Princess? No, I've got to find Zia.
Hey, Lise. Is your marriage still dead and unfulfilled?
Not a good time.
You know we're destined to...
And that's everything. Thank you very much.